What is up, Brainiacs? Worldwide we are. Matrix breaking community, door breaking, cage rattling. You guys, those that question everything, even the world around you, the reality around you. Yeah, man. Tonight we're going to be joined by a good friend and a special guest, Miss Ellen Red. She's a psychic medium. That's right. Tonight we're going to tap into the world of what she goes through, how she deals with it, and everything she has got coming at her in this collective, this whole, wherever we are, whatever we are. As you guys know, the collective, you guys can feel it. Anything that happens to them, you feel it. You're intuitive, your own self. You get it. Well, tonight, like I said, Miss Ellen Red's we're gonna tap into her world. It's gonna be not just an interview, but it's pretty much just a friendship talk over coffee. Without further ado, Brainiacs, we'll see you on the other side of this intro. Share this podcast, share this podcast, and on the other side, we'll talk to Miss Ellen Red. You guys ready? Let's do this. Alrighty, everybody. Welcome aboard. Tonight, once again, we are joined by one of my good friends as well. I've known Ellen for quite some time. I didn't really know that. I'm like, oh my God, I do know Ellen. I know Ellen quite well. And I've been wanting to get her on the Matrix. I've been wanting to share her with the community. And tonight, I'm definitely going to do that. Let me tell you a little bit about Ellen. All right, she is a twin flame coach, an ascendant guide. She's a psychic medium, a channeler, a spirit teacher, a lecturer, and writer. She has a bachelor's degree from the University of Utah in mass communications, broadcast journalism, and public relations. She has an associate's degree in business as well as being a certified mediator. Let's get into the spirituality here. She's been featured on multiple radio shows, podcasts, and spiritual forums globally. She runs several successful and thriving large groups, international sites, assisting the global collective community in ascending into their higher consciousness. Quantum healing, my friends, and spiritual healing. She's worked with thousands of people around the world. My friend Ellen has had multiple near-death experiences, out-of-body experiences, and has been working with non-physical collective consciousness for decades. She's available for work for one-on-one private sessions. So after this, my friends, if you want to get a hold of Ellen, indeed, you can do that. Anything that is of Ellen, you can find the links all of her links in the description of this live stream. Ellen can also be hired for group readings, public speakings, lectures, you name it. So on this side of things, my friend Miss Ellen Red, how are you, Ellen? So glad to have you here. I really am. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, you're welcome. You're definitely welcome. I've been trying to, like I said, I've been trying to hunt you down for quite some time. There's no doubt about that.
I'm glad you finally pinned it down.
Yeah, there you are. So here's what we're gonna do. I was talking to you off air a little bit, and I was telling you, this isn't gonna be like an interview. I've known you, I've vetted you out, I've followed you for quite some time. On top of that, I've known you through other methods, other things, right? Mm-hmm. But it's gonna be tonight, just sharing with the community what you go through, okay? How it all started. Just give them a little. I don't want to not really interview you, but just kind of like give everybody a rundown of how it all started for you, okay? And what it's like being Ellen. What is it like being a psychic, and then the medium on top of it? What is it like in a day in your boots?
Well, I've gotten very adapted to it these days, so I'm comfortable with it. But when I was younger, I really wasn't, and it was quite painful because I would see spirits and I would be taunted by them a lot, and I was avoiding facing that gift, and in some ways I thought everybody had it, so I didn't realize that it was a rare thing too. So. But as far as my background, I drowned when I was a 4-year-old. That's always my starting point for people. I was already intuitive before that happened. But when I drowned, I died and I went to the other side, and I was shown a lot of things as a 4-year-old. And I lived in a very religious family, so it was a contrast. What I had been shown versus what my family was teaching me were different things. And so over my journey, I eventually went through a full-blown light body activation. And again, I've had multiple near-death experiences too since since I was 4. And so just lots of things. My spirit guides were guiding me all along the way in my journey. And eventually I had a full-blown Kundalini activation, met the Pleiadians, was taken off planet, and gone through all kinds of other, really high voltage spiritual ascension type experiences until I was lined up with where I'm at now. So
you just said let's go with this one real quick, because I've been asked this myself quite often. Does everybody have spirit guides?
Yes. Everybody has at least 2.
Simple question. Everybody's yes. So for those that think that they're alone, what do we tell them? What do you tell them whenever they're like, "Well, I don't feel my guide"? How do you do?
Sometimes they need to raise their vibration in order to feel them more. So sometimes they'll go through some stages where they feel like they're not being guided, but they really are. And a lot of it's just tuning into your intuition and also lifting your own vibration and clearing your own conscience and those kinds of things that can help get you there. So it's kind of like a connection. You're in the 3D world and they're in the 5D world, and you guys have to meet in the middle.
How do you do that, Ella? I mean, I'm serious. How do you get that connection more? What's the word? More stronger. Your own self. Okay, and then tell us how your own self. Do you ever have foggy days?
Oh yeah, I have moments where I'm still, where I still get affected by energy, but I've learned to master it very quickly. So, you have about 17 seconds to transmute energy before it starts to take hold in the law of attraction, if you will. So the more that you learn how to forgive people right away and release energy and not take on their energy and process it quicker, then the less that you're going to the less it's going to bog your system down. Your soul is kind of like an airplane. And airplanes, if they get ice or dirt on their wings, they can't fly. So if you get dirty energy on your soul body, it's going to drag your airplane or your soul body down so that you can't fly into that higher reality, if you will.
You said you mentioned 17 seconds. Is that like really, because I've heard that before, is that really like when it like really starts to grab hold of manifestation process?
It really is. So the longer you let something take hold of you, the more momentum it has. So, that little window there, that first minute, I say 17 seconds, but even give it even a minute. If you can get through a minute of just going, okay, you're driving down the street and somebody cuts you off and you want to chew them out and you're just like, you have to try to process those feelings for a moment. You have to. Right. You can't deny them and pretend that you don't feel frustrated and angry. But after you have a moment to process it and face the emotion itself, then you release it. The sooner you release it, then the less momentum it's going to have. If you hold on to that energy and you're sitting in that rage stage and that frustration, it's going to take a hold of you and it's going to create some other kind of law of attraction. It's going to reflect back on you like a boomerang. So the quicker that you can process energy, the better. Okay. And it takes a lot of mastery. I'm sorry, I say it like it's easy, but I realize that, it does take a lot of mastery to learn how to do that.
Now, you've been at this for how long?
Well, I've been at this pretty much my whole life because, I was born in a really, really extraordinary situations. And I think I told you off air, that I first had my near-death experience. I went through multiple ones like that. I was raised in a very complex environment. And I was very guided spiritually as a young person, but I also ended up in the satanic ritual abuse, MK Ultra program. So I went through a lot of abuse as a child. And that really, I think that's kind of common for a lot of people that become enlightened later, that they go through a lot of them go through quite extreme circumstances. But so I've been at it my whole life. I eventually ended up spending probably about 15 years in a therapist's office trying to heal from all that trauma as a young child. And then that still didn't quite cut it. So I just continued to follow my spiritual journey. And I was highly guided. I was having prophetic dreams as a young girl. I was fully psychic as a 14-year-old. I was receiving light language and translating light language as a young girl. And I didn't know it was called light language back then. I thought that it was called speaking in tongues, right?
Oh boy, right.
It's also called light language as well. So I was receiving a lot of stuff early on. I just didn't know how to make it all make sense until I was in my 30s. And that's when I had a full-blown light body activation and Kundalini activation, came out of my body and met my twin flame in another dimension, in the higher dimension with the divine source that brought us together. And that catapulted me into a graduate program, if you will. So
you'd mentioned also earlier Pleiadian. You've met your Pleiadian connection. When did you wake up to that? Because this community, the Brainiacs know all about that. How are you able to discern, okay, and not being a psychic intuitive medium, how are you able to discern the false light, let's say the false light per se, versus the real light? Because there's a big difference there.
There's a very big, I'm glad that you brought that up. That's such an important thing. I mean, you know, when we say this, it's not to be mean to anybody, but the false light's really just people who truly have not gone through enlightenment. And those that have are given what's called the mark of God. And once you're given the mark of God, those that have it can see who does and who doesn't. So even those that don't have it, that are trying to, you know, mimic language, there are probably a lot of them in good intentions, but they just truly haven't been enlightened. And because of it, there's so many energetic distortions there that they're not even aware of. And so it creates more matrix, unfortunately. So they may even be in good intentions and wanting to do the right thing, but because they haven't truly been illumined by the divine, by source, by God, they're still spreading misinformation without realizing that they are. So it can be tricky. And like I said, you're given, once you're given the mark of God, we can see one another. A lot of us are living here on the planet without the veil on any longer, or with a very thin veil, if you will. So I don't know how to describe how it is that we see these things other than through spiritual vision. Right.
It's like the intuition, the attunement. I can tell, and I've seen, again, not really knowing you, but knowing you, watching your posts, and you can go through your own Facebook feed and your own social media stuff, and you can see who is and who is not. It's like you can feel that. Remember,
yeah,
you know what I mean?
Feel that for sure.
It's like you feel that. It's like I told you off air. I've got usually I've got incense burning. I've got my pendants on. It's like protecting me and you, protecting you from this reality bubble around you, even though that's not who you are. That's right. Them. That's that displacency of the illusion, right? You can talk to everybody about that too, right? This facade, this mechanism of we aren't really in control of our world. You and I both know that that's bullshit. When we are in control of our local experience, right?
Yeah. When you get in control of your inner being and you start to work through your own toxicity and your own distortions, your own contradictions, and all of the wobbly energy within yourself, and you get that balanced, and you can do that in a jail cell. You can do it anywhere. You don't have to have everything be in the physical world you think you want it to be. You just have to get it right inside. And when you do that, your whole physical world will shift, and it literally does. And all it takes is an instant. So you start noticing that things are going wrong, and you had a car crash, and this broke, and that happened. Well, what's going on? And then you just stop for a minute, and you get inside of yourself and take a day to just go be with yourself and get down to the root of whatever it is that's bothering you, that you're not facing, or those kinds of things. And after you do that, your next day is going to go totally more magical, and you'll notice the difference. The universe just instantly will. We're in a stage collectively in our ascension process on Earth that those of us that are really living in that 0 point energy, which is what we're talking about in that 17 seconds, is being in that now moment, that as we're doing that, we're able to literally manifest instantly. So, and manifestation can be positive or not positive based on what you're putting out to the universe. So, you know, all the more reason why it's really important to be mindful of what you're thinking and what you're saying and what you're doing, and how long you're going to hold on to energy and resentment towards somebody else or any of those things. Because as long as you're doing that, you're literally just manifesting a reality for yourself that isn't necessarily what you may want. You're just unconsciously manifesting.
Let's talk about that, okay, for a second, because here's what the P's have told me, okay? I'm going to share this with you. They have shared it with me. I'm going to share it with you. They have told me that the creative process literally begins with that thought, okay? That is the first, they say that is the very first stages of all of the creation in which you are going to experience through perception. So they say, you want to create, you've got to imagine, because there's nothing in our bubble that was never once a thought.
That's right.
I'm
That's
like,
right.
what? I mean, I remember saying this to my wife, and I'm like, remember I told you off air, I channel the Pleiades. I don't do it publicly, but I do. However, why can't I record them sessions? My phone will not record the shit. Why?
Maybe there's something they want you to learn first still, because once maybe there's something else there that you still have to work through, that they're going to lead you through, because they will stop that from happening. They stopped me even from doing certain things until I overcame some other obstacles in my journey. But
I try to go. I got to ask the wife like an hour later, well, was that okay? Usually she sobs. Usually she sobs. It's like the energy. I mean, and I will burn up. I mean, I'm like, whenever it first started happening, Ellen, I would get a burn on the back of my right leg. Okay, I'm not kidding you. A welt. My leg would literally welt. And my wife asked them, why is Matt's leg burnt? And they kind of like, they told her that Matt needs to ground. They call me mouth. They refer to me as the mouthpiece. They say mouth. They say mouth. And I'm like, oh, yeah. So they told her that mouth needs to ground because I make a good conduit. I make a good mouthpiece, but I'm not truly grounded. My frequency is there. And my wife's like, you've got to be kidding. Grounding. So since I've been, earthing, right? And grounding and being more conscious, that has not happened in quite some time.
Yeah.
Does everybody?
You're right. That thought is the mustard seed that Christ talked about, right? Is the mustard seed. That thought is where everything in the universe has been created from that thought first.
No, Ellen, does everybody have this intuitive feeling? They just got to kick it on.
Yes, it's your spiritual design, really. It's just that most people have been, thousands and thousands and lifetimes of conditioning and programming. And we say that like conditioning and programming in two words. It sounds so simple, but the truth is we're talking about really, really unplugging from certain religious beliefs that are actually out of alignment with source. So you might go to church and you might feel really good feelings about certain things, and then something else within that matrix, that's why we call it the matrix, is there's truth and lies mixed in there, and then there's something in there that's not true, and you bit into it and believed it and let it impregnate your consciousness and your being, and now you're out of alignment. And as long as you're out of alignment, you are not able to tune into your higher senses, your multidimensional self. So it takes a lot of work to break through all of that conditioning.
I'm seeing a comment on your left shoulder there. Miss Julie Rogers is responding to a comment. Easier said than done, because I think someone said something about trying to shut down that subconscious mind's creativity. I think that's what it was about. How what about that? How, because I do past life regression. Okay. So I understand that the subconscious mind is the biggest part of almost all of it. In conjunction with our conscious reality, trying to make sense of how, see, it's like you and I sitting here right now. We're not consciously aware of making our blood pump through our veins. We're not consciously aware of making ourselves blink. Okay, right. So there's them underlying factors, them subconscious factors that we're not aware of, that the body just does its thing, right? So when trying to connect to source, right? Does the subconscious? I'm asking you this. This is you're my psychic. I'm asking you, how do I allow my higher self or my creativity self come through that consciousness, that subconscious mind of mine, and help to start creating the world that I want. What do you want? Can you break that?
I'm trying to follow your question. I think I understand what you're asking me.
The steps. Can you help possibly tell us the steps in creating and allowing the subconscious mind to be a more positive influence and getting this logical consciousness out of the way?
Well, like your friend said, that's easier said than done. But a lot of why people don't tap into their full capacity of their consciousness is generally related to energies. So shadow healing is really the key to bringing what's unconscious, bringing it to your consciousness. So it's kind of like you have to consciously go down in the dark and dig around down there and catch the next fish and then bring that fish up to the consciousness. So you've got to go down there and find out what else is blocking me. What else is blocking me? Why am I not manifesting what I want? Why am I not feeling the way I want? Why do I feel bad? Why don't I have money? Why isn't my lover here? What is going on? And you have to go inside of yourself and dig around in the dark.
But how?
And then you have to find the answer. You really have to do soul work.
But how, Ellen? That's kind of help. I mean, step by step here. How do you even target? How do you target what the hell's wrong in your life? Do you have any idea?
All kinds of ways. One, you just have to feel yourself. Your whole system, your body is a living library. So when you're living in some way that's out of alignment, say, for example, that you keep telling this little white lie, your conscience is always there trying to tell you that you're BSing yourself. And so it's you and you that needs to become best friends. It's you and you that needs to be connected, and you need to be able to call your own self out on your BS. So you can ask your high soul to show you. And then you have to be willing to face the things that you're not wanting to face. Because the thing is that a lot of the things that your soul might be asking you to do, let's say smoking, for example, your soul might be asking you to quit smoking, but you're trying to ignore your conscience when it's telling you to quit smoking because you like to smoke. Right. So you've got to get in there and you've got to face those contradictions within your own self. That's how. And if that were easy, everybody would do it. But it's not easy because you really have to go through. This is where that whole conditioning and all those years and layers of programming is. You really have to go in there, and then you have to change your whole life and rewire your brain and restructure your whole neural pathways in order to change that pattern, just in order to live up to what the Spirit's asking of you.
And that quote unquote that spirit is literally higher consciousness. That high you're referring to. Spirit is literally you, right?
Soul, you've got source, you've got maybe spirit guides, whichever one is asking of you or trying to show you something. Then this higher part of yourself, then it's you that has to learn how to honor that. And a lot of times people don't, because it's easier to just live in the human world the way that all humans are doing, right? It's like,
you're right.
The humans got everything backwards, and they're all following each other around, getting each other lost. And until you really trust your guidance, your intuition, and really, really trust it and act on what it's telling you, then you're living a complete illusion.
What do you mean by an illusion?
If you're not living in your spirit, you're living in your mortal perception, and that's an illusion.
Where does now? We're gonna shift things back to going back to what you said. MK Ultra. Yeah. Is not that living outside of you as the beautiful you and the beautiful I am, and right? Is that not like falling victim to the cabal, the elites, that programming methodology? If we're not living,
yeah, it is. It is living out of alignment with your soul, and it is living in. You could say as a victim of the cabal, but the truth is that you as a soul are accountable for your own soul. So even though they've perpetrated a lot of sorcery, you are the one that has to take charge of your own soul. You're the master of your own soul, if you want to be. If you don't master it, somebody else will.
Right.
So, it's kind of like you even though those people are victims of MK Ultra, myself included, I had to personally be the one that broke through that. There wasn't going to be anybody to come and save me. I had to save myself. You see what I'm saying?
You're talking about the cabal, the Kabbalistic / cabal stranglehold. Is that what you're talking about?
Well, yeah, I'm talking about that. I'm talking about sex slave programming. I'm talking about, any form of mind control programming. You still, as a conscious being, have to become conscious of it and break free from whatever conditioning they're trying to do to you. That could be racial conditioning. It could be all kinds of things, sexual conditioning. It could be religious conditioning. There's tons and tons of ways that they've created matrix distortions for you to get your soul ensnared. I like to explain it as a spider web, that it's been designed to ensnare your consciousness. And if you get caught in that trap, then your consciousness can't ascend into the higher planes. So it's really important to be constantly asking yourself, okay, and being mindful of your energy and noticing, like I was saying in the road rage, are you raging and sending out to the universe that you can't stand this guy that just cut you off? Or
Right.
Can you hone that back in and transmute it and say, okay, I don't like the way that they just did that to me, but I'm giving it to the universe to handle, and you're going to let it go so you yourself aren't taking on the energetics of it.
I see a comment here over your shoulder by Earl Field says, my gut feeling helps my consciousness. Okay. Accept reality. So the gut brain, that's a lot of people forget about that we are designed. We are, the P's say that we are an extraordinarily perfected being. But we've been a lot of our dynamic DNA, our genetics have been coded off. So we're going through that consciousness awakening, right? We're going through that awakening process seriously as a working conduit between source and people like myself. Do you have and have you had recently more people coming to you going, what the hell is going on with me? And they're going through these consciousness symptoms. Have you had that recently where they're waking?
Yeah, I have it all the time. And then, a lot of people, and especially the more you start to work with your consciousness and work with raising your vibration, you're gonna start to have all kinds of strange phenomenon happen, because it's also shifting your DNA back to the 12 and 24 strands that you were originally made with. And so we're not healing it necessarily on a physical level, we're healing it on an energetic, etheric level. So the soul can supersede any of these distortions that they've created for us, but it does require you to be conscious and to be consciously constantly working on your soul and your own evolution, because we have a lot of repairing to do, don't we, to return to source. So
it's I was going to interview Mr. Louis Luzo last Friday. It's amazing. It's just weird how the projection bubble around us, right, can like do things to manipulate even weather. Okay, even weather. Because here's the thing. If I try to interview you and something just happened, it just don't happen out of coincidence or random.
Right.
Okay. Lewis speaks on the Guardians. Okay. He said something. You seen that? And
I speak on them also. I'm very familiar with the Guardians, and they are in control of all things, if that's where you're going.
That's where I'm going. That's where I'm going with this. What do you know? I have these guys. I've never brought the Guardian in any whatsoever, because we're shifting into a whole new era here. It's the time for like spoon feeding these people, Alan, them times for me, I don't want to do that anymore. I don't want to do that. I want them. I now want to take this community, okay, and keep the wind in their sails because they're already there, Ellen. The majority of your and I's world around us, our people are already there. So versus spoon feeding them and going backwards and just spinning in the mud, that's why I'm trying to bring the Guardians onto the show, you onto the show, Michelle Espinosa on the show, and keep the wind in their sails now that we're there. You know what I'm saying? It's like spoon feeding them that they're in the Matrix and they're just they're in this, like you said it, the snare, the trap. Mm-hmm. That shit, that's old. That is like yesterday's newspaper. I mean, they're just like, what can you talk about the Guardians at all?
Of course I can.
What can you tell us about the facade, this illusion, and to what degree are we in this Matrix, Ellen?
To what degree are we in the Matrix? That's an interesting question. I'm not sure how to answer that. I think that depends on every soul, and I think that once you exit the Matrix, honestly, in my experience, even exiting the Matrix kind of opens us to another layer of Matrix.
Oh God!
So it's kind of
oh God! She said it. She said it.
It's kind of what you were saying with the false light. The false light is that you kind of exit this whole level of awareness or level of consciousness, and then you enter into a new realm of consciousness, and in that realm of consciousness you still have other layers of those dynamics that you have to continue to work through. As far as the Guardians go, that's in a totally different reality. That's free of Matrix, free of all Matrix, and we're talking about the Guardians of the Galaxy, right? These are the beings that protect the Akashic records. And they do not allow people to access the Akashic records really without having the right vibration, right? It's like having a living room with brand new white carpet and white curtains and white everything and letting a bunch of kids in there with mud on their hands. They don't really do that. They allow people access when they feel that the soul is ready. They are in control of that. They get to protect those sacred scripts, if you will.
So here's a question, and this isn't coming from the audience. This is coming from my own heart. Okay, so if they are in control of all of it, right? That's what you're saying. I don't know much about the Guardians at all. I'm literally learning it from you now, and also learning a lot of stuff from Lewis. So I don't know that level of the Matrix outside of literally the 3D world around me. I do, however, do astral projection, but I can't tell you the fundamental building blocks that reality is built on. Lewis and
probably the Guardians are basically 12th dimensional and above. So a soul, as they're going through ascension, for right now, we're just trying to get people to 5D, right? Which is a great place to be, out of 3D through 4D and into 5D. But there are many other dimensions. And so the Guardians, if you will, are very, 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 very high voltage light beings. And so you have to understand that some of what is accessible in those higher dimensions is obviously very, very sacred. And it's not just going to be handed to Jeffrey Dahmer. You know what I'm saying? If Jeffrey Dahmer isn't in a state of being where he's ready to honor things like that, then he won't be granted access to that kind of knowledge, because those that have, the wrong energy or the wrong intentions can very much misuse it, which is what we're dealing with the Illuminati. Right? Because certain beings there have accessed higher levels of consciousness and still contorted it and twisted it and created sorcery from it that has caused havoc all over the planet.
Ellen, I see somebody got a comment in there for me that says, Matthew, try DMT if you want to meet the Guardians. But it's funny that Mandy Lee said that, because I have accidentally done dimethyltryptamine, not even realizing that I did it. Mm-hmm. I had went to a friend of mine whenever I was in a really, really troubled time of my life. And mind you, I should have shot up with Windex or done what he did, which he's no longer even on this planet because he overdosed on heroin. Won't talk about that. But nevertheless, I accidentally got a hold of dimethyltryptamine, not knowing what it was. And that is what literally, Mandy, set my life on course for what we're doing right now. I mean, seriously, that was... Ellen, that was the wake up call for me. It put me on a whole other understanding per se of the world around me. And it was a substance. I know I'm not wanting to push a substance around, but dimethyltryptamine is definitely the one.
Yeah, I'm not against psychedelics per se, because they're great. You can really expand your consciousness through it. But I will say that I've been doing this work for decades, and I've worked with thousands and thousands of people, and I've had clients that ended up in mental hospitals from that. And in my personal experience, I don't think that some plant medicine or something like that is the key. It can be a tool, not the key. So it can help you to gain some access, but it's not going to do your shadow work for you, and it's not going to do your soul work for you. And even if you get to tap into the guardians for a moment in time there, that's still not going to get you into the Akash. It's not going to give you granted access into higher dimensions. You still have to get your energy right at the end of the day. So I'm not against it at all, but I know that it's a lot, there's more to it than just that. So it can be good, but again, I don't want to tell,
right,
everybody to go and take drugs or anything, but I realize that psychedelics can help people to expand their mind, because the thing is the mind is sort of like or the matrix, if you will, is a mind matrix. It's sort of like a rubber band that's strapped around your brain, and it's keeping you in this level of consciousness, and until you can expand beyond that, you're sort of trapped within it. And psychedelics can help you to escape that rubber band, if you will. But I would definitely not in any way want people to really believe that if you just go and take some DMT that you're enlightened, because that's absolutely incorrect.
Right. What happened?
It's totally incorrect, and that's another, false light kind of a belief structure in a way. So, got to be careful with that.
Well, what happened to me is a lot like you just said. It's not that, oh wow, I'm enlightened. What it did to me was made me. Primarily, it helped open up my own questioning to the world around me. My best description of what happened was I can definitely tell you that the veil got jerked off like for months. There were days whenever I would like walk outside and I would like, how you're gonna laugh at me, but you know how they laugh at tree huggers? Yeah. I was a tree hugger for weeks. Okay. I'm serious. I would
Me too.
I would walk from like my house to my truck, and I would like look down, and I would see a rock that kind of like just caught my eye. Right. And this is the degree that it opened me up to the world around me, to know that, my God, had I, my own self, not reached down to pick up that rock and say, thank you for being part of my world. Just seriously, I know that may sound stupid, but it's like, I just picked up a rock and I'd be like, I'm thankful that you're in my world, and I acknowledge that. I am blessed. I'm literally blessed, and I just toss it down. And it literally crossed my mind in that process that had I not grabbed that rock and showed it an interaction of my consciousness with an extension of my consciousness, that may never have happened. That is how intuitive the connection between me as a being and the world around me got for a long time. It got that way. That's what I'm saying. I told you. I mean, it got to the point where I could drive through traffic and I had to shut myself off. The empathicness or whatever, I had to shut myself down because just coming through here, talking to you and you, myself and you, and the chat and the world around me coming at me like yourself, you've got to shield yourself. You've got to shut it down to some point, or you'll get sucked into it and bombarded with it. Oh, yeah.
I have to do energy work every single day in order to deal with the amount of energy that I'm exposed to with all the groups and pages and platforms and videos and clients and stuff that I deal with on a daily basis. So it's true. You really, I definitely personally got trained, or what I like to say, groomed by spirit to be able to handle, as an empath, to be able to handle a large audience and still be so in tune. So it definitely takes a lot of work, and you do have to shield, and you do have to work on energy regularly if you're going to be, exposed to a lot of people, if you're intuitive and empathic.
Right. Now, is that something that you definitely had to learn your own self?
Which part?
The shutting it the hell down. And just especially the talking to the spirits thing. I haven't really got into that with you yet, but how in the hell do you deal with that plus the world around you? I mean, do you get bombarded with it?
It's funny that you asked that question, because I sat in the gym the other day and I was watching all these people sitting in this sauna and just watching them on their phones. They're in there with their little earplugs and getting all this radiation. And I was just intuitively, seeing all these things, and I'm thinking, there is no way to shut this off.
Right. Yep.
It doesn't really shut off. What it does, it's just a matter of really spending a lot of alone time. That's how I'm able to manage my energy around people, because I can't shut it off. It's my nature. I can shield myself, and I can take time alone. I can go be with nature and be with pets. They really heal me, both nature and pets. Mm-hmm. And I take a lot of time alone, and I sleep well, I eat well, I take good care of myself and my life. And that way, when I am out there with people, I can handle the energy of it. Otherwise, I don't. I won't even go online until I first am feeling right, because otherwise, I don't want to handle a situation the wrong way. So I try the best I can anyway. I'm not perfect, but I try the best I can to really be mindful about that. But as far as turning it off, no. And there are times where I'll literally have spent the whole day working. This happened to me recently. Spent the whole day working, clients, pages, groups, postings, writings, everything that I'm doing, and did a live in one of my groups. And then I turned it off, and I was ready to go to dinner and enjoy myself. And a spirit came through, a little girl spirit, who was insisting that I went live on my other page so that I could try to connect with someone that she was trying to reach for. And it's one of those things where sometimes I'll get them come through randomly, and I don't know who they are. I don't know who their people are. I just trust that they're coming to me for some reason. So I might go and do a live and see if I can make that connection for them. And in that case, I was able to. But that's one of those examples where I can't shut it off, because I've learned that when they're coming to me for some reason, there's a reason for it. And I honor that. And I'm a channel for it and a conduit for it. So I honor that they're coming to me for a purpose. And in that case, I was able to, strangely enough, her mom, who's never been on my page before, happened to see my page go on her in her feed, and she clicked on it, and it was her daughter, and she broke down. Oh
my God, Ellen.
I was doing a live, so I saved it because it was so extraordinary that somehow or another, and it turns out that it was her daughter's 10th anniversary of her death. And so that's that's why I don't turn it off, because if something like that happens, now I shouldn't say I don't turn it off. There's times where I just simply don't have the energy myself to deal with it. And I have to
Right.
honor myself too. So I had a second one that was a Japanese lady recently who was coming to me and coming to me and coming to me and coming to me for 2 weeks. And she still hasn't left yet because I haven't found her people. But
Oh God.
she's come to me for a couple weeks, and I kept trying to dismiss her for a time because I just wasn't ready to deal with it. And now I realize that she wants me to get through to somebody, so I've done a live to try to find her person. I couldn't find her person yet, and I'll probably write about it again because she's really being persistent. So I'm sure that she probably knows there's somebody that's in my world, or something. I don't know. I
Right.
just have to trust it. And if I make an ass out of myself, I don't care. I trust the spirit world way more than I do the human world. So, I'm not worried about myself looking dumb to anybody.
No, well, you know what? You've got that connection, and it to me it looking at you, following you, knowing you. There's others. There's other intuitives, other shaman that I talk to. You guys, that is a gift, man, and I am I'm humbled that you guys have taken on that role, because it's not an easy role. I know,
Yeah.
right? It's not. So I'm saying for everybody else here, thank you for taking on that role, because
Thank
again,
you.
it's
Yeah. When I was little, I would see a lot of disincarnate souls, and when they come through, I see their wounds. So it's kind of like that movie with the Sixth Sense, with the little boy seeing dead people.
right,
That's really how you see them in a way, because they're trying to show you something, and I can see how they were killed. I can see the suffering they went through. And so when I was a young child, I really struggled with that. I struggled a lot with it. It was horrible, and I would try to hide from it. And I got into drinking and things like that when I was a teenager. I tried to avoid it as much as long as I could,
right.
until I was very clearly shown that it was a gift and that I wasn't meant to run away from it, and I had to learn how to embrace my gifts. And so,
Well, you've been through a lot, Ellen. You've definitely been
yeah,
through a lot.
yes, I have. They wanted me to wake up. We call it the fast track to ascension.
the fast track, the fast
That's
track
a
to
nice way
ascension.
to put it.
Well, again, man, here I don't really know very many psychic intuitives that have been through the MK Ultra mind, the mind. I hate to say it, the mind fuckery that you have had to deal with. I mean, do you think that has helped, or did it spark your stuff, or was for the age of 4? You said, right? That's whenever this
I was
drowning.
intuitive before I drowned,
Okay.
but the drowning definitely I had conscious awareness of the other side. I saw God, and Christ, and angels, and I had conscious awareness of the other realms. But I wouldn't say that it necessarily sparked me. I think what it really did was it was an attempt to keep me from my gifts, because, as you probably know by working and talking with lots of others as well, a lot of times the dark forces target psychic children. They target the light beings. They want to prevent the light beings from their awakening so that they won't awaken. And that's the thing. And so, I wouldn't say that it was definitely, most assuredly, a targeting, if you will, of light beings. So, but of course, in certain ways, it did also cause me to awaken. I suffered so much that I eventually, my consciousness was fragmented, and I eventually, left my body and went home to source. That's when I was in my 30s and I met my twin flame. I literally had a heartbreak where I heard my heart go and tear open all the way from my chin to my belly button, and it like tore open and my soul came out.
Oh my
And
God.
that's when I, had my full blown awakening. So I had enough of this earth already. I had seen everything dark, and I was done with it. So I was leaving my body and going home. And then the spirit world showed me a lot of things and sent me back. So here I am.
So you actually,
I got
you,
to choose. I got to choose to come back and to choose to assist humanity once I was shown what I was shown.
what's
So,
the hardest part of that, Ellen?
which part?
What is the hardest part of your day?
The hardest part of my day, I think, for most of us that are awakening and stuff, is just seeing those that are in the mind control programs are actually combating the light, and they think that they're the light. That is the most frustrating part, I think, for all of us, not just on the human plane, but even in the other dimensions. Is we got ETs up there that are trying to help us all day long, and even they're baffled and scratching their heads because it's that whole crucifixion of the light beings where you're trying to help humanity, and I've seen it from the eyes of the divine, and then people are fighting against you because they don't understand what you're trying to say or why you're trying to say it. And it's really frustrating because you're trying to help them, and also because our timeline is going to end on this. This timeline will end at some point here, and we're really teetering on some very precarious times that are damning for the whole collective of humanity if we don't get ourselves together here. And so it's kind of frustrating because you want to help, but I also realize that every soul gets to choose which way they're going to go, and if they don't choose to go through ascension this time, then there's nothing we can do for them. We can just try. We do the best we can.
Ellen, you've talked to a crap ton of people. You've done shows. You do your own thing. Do you ever, out of curiosity, because I know this is bad juju. If you do, you do. If you don't, you don't. Do you your own self make any future predictions?
I really don't like to do that because time isn't necessarily real, or at least the way that we understand it. And also timelines can be jumped. So there are multiple timelines in parallel universes. And so I might see something in one of the realms or in the cosmic realms and see it. And I know what it is. But let's say that I see you having a car accident tomorrow. I'm not going to tell you that I saw you have a car accident, because the moment that I tell you, I'm impregnating your consciousness. And once it's in your consciousness, you're going to manifest it. So,
Right.
I really don't like to do that unless it's a positive thing that I'm guided to show or reveal to somebody. But as far as predictions, no, not really. And I do have people ask me all the time. But I will say too that I have been shown things, births and deaths and things like that in my own personal life. Even my daughter that went missing, I was shown that through the dream world. And in certain times, I will share that information in certain cases if I think that I'm meant to.
Hang on, you got a jet flying over you.
Wow.
Hang on a second.
Here, let it pass by. I think it's really close to the house, isn't it? That doesn't happen very often out here. Okay. So, but anyway, no, I don't. However, I was shown in my awakening the end of the world, if you will. So I had visions of apocalyptic days and such, and I was shown the whole pandemic scenario. And okay. I was also shown wars between Russia, China, Korea, and the USA. That was in 2011 that I was shown that. And I have talked about that in videos. So I don't do predictions, but if it's something like that, I'm going to share it because it was very clear to me that it was an important thing that they were showing me. And look where we're at now.
Right.
So, that's kind of, I think that some of us, I'm not the only one that's had that vision either. Some of us have gotten those visions or downloads, and it's a very important time for humanity. So,
Ellen, you're a writer. You're a writer. You write. Because I was going through your bio, I could not find books. Do you have any? Do you have any material?
I know. I'm so frustrated. I've been working on it. I have, but then I got that breast implant illness, and I was in a sick bed for 5 years with brain fog, and I'm coming out of that now. So I'm really, really, really working on the books.
Honey needs to find some time. You need to find some time for you. I'm serious.
I have people in my audience that have been hearing me talk about it for years now.
Yeah. Come on, lady. Your sweetheart needs to find some time for just you. So do a psychic fair, an expo. Seriously, make yourself some money to get you through the couple months and spend some time doing it. I'm serious.
I appreciate you. I'm gonna let you keep hounding me on that. And anybody in my audience can hound me too. But yeah,
that's right.
I'm really working on it. So.
If you know Ellen, send her a message every now and then. Tell her, "Where's my book?"
Yeah.
What would you be writing about? Let me just curious that one. What would you be writing about?
I have a few of them right now that I'm working on. One of them is called Sacred Ceremonials, and that's about the twin flame journey. And it's a very, very, very sacred journey that a lot of false light beings are kind of confusing, or people in 3D consciousness are even kind of confusing. So, but anyway, I'm working on that. And then I have another one that I'm working on with near-death experiences and things like that. And a few other topics I won't go into detail now, but those are the two main ones that I'm working on. And also another one called Venus Rules, which is about the book of love, or the rules of love.
So, all right, I'm on your website. I'm sharing with everybody. I'm sharing with everybody your website, right? ellenred.com. That's REDD.com. ellenred.com. So I'm going over the about me and the services, right? Akashic reading, starseed reading, twins flames. Does that say seraphim? Ooh.
Yeah, seraphim, blueprints, shadow healing, mediumship.
Damn. So what is it? Okay, Akashic. What does somebody get out of the Akashic reading? What is it?
Well, the Akashic reading's basically going to get me access to their book of life, so I can see in the etheric realms, things that are really important for their timeline of what they're doing in this lifetime. Most souls have incarnated multiple timelines, and this particular timeline that you're here, you may have a specific mission that you're supposed to be focused on. And a lot of times when you get born, the veil takes over and you fall away from what your soul path is trying to have you do. And so when I do Akashic record readings, I'm able to access that. I can see what your soul mission is. I can see, past lives, even all kinds of things.
All right.
And the people, when they schedule sessions, they can also ask questions. So I'm able to get into information as far as, all kinds of subjects in terms of what they're doing in their life. Why are they there? What are they trying to achieve? Where are their patterns? A lot of times it's patterning with past lives as well.
Okay. Ellen, would you like to take a phone call from 330? How about that? You want to take a phone call?
Okay.
All right. Area code 330. Welcome to the Matrix Minds with myself and Ellen Red. Who is this brainiac? Say hello. Hello.
Hi.
How are you?
Hi, it's Renee.
Hi, Renee. How you doing?
Hey. I'm okay, I guess.
You want to talk to Ellen
I have
here?
a question. Yes, please.
Yes, please.
I have a question. Excuse my nervousness.
Okay.
I feel like I'm waiting for something.
You're waiting for something.
Usually I'm out and about, but I don't know. I feel like I'm waiting for something, but I don't know what that means.
Well, I think that your guides are wanting you to take a little bit of time to reflect on your own self. I think that they're asking you to move through and purge through some things that you've been holding on to for a long time that aren't serving you anymore. You have a way higher calling than you've been allowing yourself to live up to. And not to put pressure on you, because they don't want to pressure you, but it's just you're holding on to some stuff that you need to let go of, and they want you to let go of it, because when you let go of something old that doesn't serve you anymore, then it opens up the universe to give you things that are more beneficial for you and that are going to make you a lot more happy. So you're waiting for something, but you're also kind of needing to let something else go. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that does make sense. And another question, this is gonna be kind of weird, but October is my weird month, and I thought, I mean, I could be sitting down, and all of a sudden I'm like, I'm near a mirror. I'm like, I'm not trying to be near a mirror. I end up across from a mirror, by a mirror, and I don't know, is that something that I should be scared about, or?
No, you're only scared because it's just reflecting to you that there's some things about yourself that you need to face that you haven't been facing. And by the way, October's my weird month too. I love it because every October, it really is actually. It's always been my one time of year where lots of interesting things happen, and some of that's connected to your timeline as far as when you were born and your renewal of every year that you're going around the sun. And some of it is just, again, kind of like both a harvest of the new things that you've manifested this year, and also a kind of a purging as well. So but the mirror really is just, it's just reflecting to you things that you need to look at, and this is part of growing as a soul, that the things that you're afraid of, the more that you're able to face them, the more that the spirit world will work with you, because they want you to overcome your fears.
Damn, that makes sense, Renee.
Because,
Totally. Face yourself.
yeah, it does.
And your fears.
Because I think in October, I've seen some orbs. I had the three knocks on my door. Sometimes I can hear a voice telling the one. I felt like I was someone at the top of my chest pushing it down, and I was flying with nothing in the air.
Sometimes that can come from attachments, and also there can be nefarious spirits that, if they know that you're living in fear, they're going to try to harass you. So that's another reason why it's good for you to try not to allow yourself to be afraid. Find ways to have faith and to be brave and to not fear things, because if you stay stuck in the fear energy, then they're going to harass you, and that can cause that feeling in your chest where you feel like they're pushing you down. That can come from entities too.
Right.
Make
All right,
sense?
Renee. Gotta move on, sweetheart. Take care of yourself. All right. Thank you for calling.
Thank you.
Bye, Renee.
All right.
All right.
All right.
Bye.
Bye, Renee. All right, Miss Ellen. We got somebody from Florida. Is that all right with that? Florida?
Okay.
All right. Mr. Jim Andre from Florida calling into the studio straight up. What's up, Mr. Andre? Welcome aboard the Matrix Minds, my friend. It's been a minute. How are you?
How you been, Matt?
I have been absolutely peachy. Yeah, peachy. How's you been?
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, pretty good. You got an interesting show tonight.
Oh,
Quite an interesting guest there. I just got a question for her. If she can, like, maybe tap in and, give me any idea on, the experiences I've had with being an alien abductee and whatnot. I was a guest on your show at one time.
yes, sir, you were.
Just gets any vibe. Yes. Yeah, I mean, I guess I'm kind of like wondering what it's all about ultimately, what the end goal will be, if she's got any ideas on that.
what our end goal will be, or yours specifically?
No, my end goal.
Your end goal.
What my actual angle is on the whole thing.
But tell her a little bit about. Just let her get some more intuitiveness about you. Tell her a little bit about yourself, Jim.
All right. Well, I'm a retired Massachusetts constable and motor coach bus driver. In the late fall of 2012, I had an abductee experience. I was left with an alien tattoo on my right forearm, not knowing where it even came from.
Mm-hmm.
And since then, I get kind of like downloads and stuff with different information, like telepathically. And I mean, I'm in control of what I do, but I'm just wondering where it's all going to lead to.
Well, it's leading you somewhere good. I can see that already about you. And a lot of what they're wanting from you is for you to really both trust the journey of it and allow them to guide you, because I can tell that, and I'm assuming that your experience was a pleasant one. You didn't have anything negative happen there.
Oh no, there was nothing negative. It was just mind blowing. If I, that's
Yeah. Okay.
mildly,
Good.
when
Yeah,
it
that's
first
what I was feeling.
He's also missing time, honey. Jim Andre was also one that was really one that pointed out in my interview with Jim is the time displacency, the missing of time.
Mm-hmm. That's a very common thing for those that have been. Go ahead. I'm having a hard time hearing. It's not very loud, but say that last part again, Jim.
Yeah, there was missing time. I think it was just like under 5 hours.
5 hours. Is that what you said? 5 hours?
Time. 5 hours, yeah.
Okay. Well, what I can see for you is that obviously that these are benevolent beings that came to assist you basically and to activate you. That's what we call that, as an activation. And so they're going to be working with you in that. Those downloads that you're receiving, you just need to continue to trust it and allow it to guide you. That's really part of the ascension journey. So the guidance is going to lead you through all of the things that you need to go through, and you just need to keep working with it and trusting it, and they'll show you that they're bringing blessings to you, so you don't have to be afraid of it. I do see also that they're wanting to do some clearing on you, so I think you still have some repressed childhood stuff, it feels like, in your second chakra. And so I would look into that a little bit and see if you can do some more clearing on your early childhood, your tribal roots and those kinds of things. But because that's going to help you to stay more in tune with them. And as long as you're regularly meditating and staying in that positive vibration, you're going to be doing just fine. You just got to trust it. It's a journey. You're not going to get it all at one time. You just got to keep allowing yourself to be guided by it. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, it's funny that. Well, yeah, it's funny that you mentioned my childhood, because the Bonnie and Betty Hill case, they were abducted on September 19th, 1961, and coincidentally, that was my 8th birthday, and I somehow feel that I was involved in that, but I have no recollection.
Oh, okay. We could do a little trans work on you there, but I do feel that you have some blockage there, and that's probably why you don't have a lot of memory recall during that time in your life. So I would look into that, because when you're really in alignment, the more in alignment you get, the more memory you have of everything. You're not going to forget your childhood. The soul remembers everything. So there's some blockages, what I can see there, but I also see that they're guiding you, and it's a positive thing. So just trust it, keep working on your meditation, and I would look into doing some clearing there on some of those lower chakras.
Okay, thank you, Ellen. I appreciate it.
You're welcome, honey. Have a good night.
Good night, Jim.
Well, thank you, Matt. Good night.
You're welcome, buddy. Good night to you. All right, Miss Ellen. You know, we're gonna have. I got a feeling that as the shift right? The shift, the momentum, the galactic momentum speeds up. We're gonna have more people like Jim coming to people like yourself, Michelle, and all of the psychic mediums that can. What the hell is going on with me, Ellen? Can you fix me? You know what I'm saying?
You've probably heard Dolores Cannon talk about the waivers, right? The first, second, and third waiver.
I have, yes. We were aware. Yeah.
I'm one of the first waivers, and so that's kind of our role, is that we pioneered through these realms without a lot of guidance. There wasn't internet when I was activated as a twin flame in 2011. Facebook had only been around for 4 years. There wasn't anybody talking about twin flames, so I have to kind of pioneer it. But and so that's our purpose, or our role, is that we kind of had to go through the hard part, go and pioneer, so we could assist others to get through. And I was shown that was part of my soul mission, and I was also shown that I would be doing that for 1,000 years. So,
what? What?
Yeah,
1,000. Then maybe you ain't going nowhere yet. So you can't go home. You're obviously not going home yet.
No. What I was shown is that after this incarnation, I would be on the other side helping them get through. So I don't know exactly what that means. Maybe I will come back, but that's kind of what I was shown. So
right.
See.
I get you.
If I come back again, I got some new demands. So
you're gonna check that contract, aren't you? This time for anybody that's listening on the other side, Ellen's going to check her contract over and over and over again. I know.
I'm renegotiating, and it's going to be good.
I get it. I always say to those that are in my matrix and in our reality that do happen to have it worse than myself or you, Ellen, because there's people placed in my life and in your life that literally you wonder how in the hell they function from day to day, and bless their heart for going through the shit that they go through. Yeah. I literally do. I thank them mentally. I don't tell them. I don't like physically say, Ellen, well, thank you for having this disease or whatever. But I do, however, in my own mind, process for them that I don't know if I could take on that baggage that they have signed that contract on a dimensional level. I truly don't know if I could deal with cancer or deal with this or deal with that. Or there's some really, really amazing people in our lives going through some traumatic shit.
There really are, and you just need to understand that all that you're going through is literally temporary. And I know that sounds cliche, but it's true. It's a temporary thing, so you can alleviate some of your suffering by just trying to stay in the now moment. So, and you know that I was in a sick bed for 5 years. I was literally dying. I wouldn't have lived another 6 months had I not gotten to the root of what was causing that illness. But I know that because I was already shown by the Pleiadians and by the angelic guides that staying in that 0 point energy, even while I was in that sick bed, I was able to find beauty and bliss in the process of it. So if you can just stay centered in yourself and recognize that whatever you're going through, your spirit wants you to go through it, there's something you're supposed to learn, there's something that you're supposed to go through, and you will get to the other side of it, especially if you can get to the soul lesson of it, because that's what you're doing. Your soul is wanting to expand from whatever your circumstances are. And if you can stay in that now moment and move through it that way, then you can even find bliss in the midst of great suffering sometimes. So
that's key, because that's what you just said is very very key, because I know even being a channel myself, that has been called forward to, and that's the question I've had. Why do all of these people in our reality have to go through such traumatic shit, right? Even you yourself and those around us. I haven't really happened. I personally haven't, but you have, and a lot of other people, and they say that, I know this may sound crazy, Ellen, but from their Right? Welcome to the Matrix, baby. Hang on. The way they see it on the dimensional level, we can't really even comprehend it as a being. But they said that the soul self, the soul source that you are, would rather have a bad experience than no experience at all. And that suffering is, no offense, but is the best teacher. I'm going, oh my God. I'm like, no.
I am a Pleiadian soul, and I'm very well consciously aware of the fact that in the other realities that our soul always resides in, that our soul is having a heyday. It's like, hey, I'm gonna kill you and you're gonna fall off a cliff over here, and you planned out this whole movie
right
in the physical world, and upstairs in the soul world, the souls are like, oh yeah, that's gonna be great, and then you're gonna grow from this, and then this is, and down here we're like,
right.
You gotta have that perspective. You gotta be able to zoom out a little bit and remember that your soul is working on you, and there's a story that they're trying to tell, and you're the book. So you gotta just allow it to unfold for you and trust that it is in your highest good. You are completely loved at all times. And I know that can seem strange in a world like this, but it's true. And so it's a matter of shifting the way that you're perceiving things and learning to perceive things from that spiritual perspective, so that you can start to really understand your world, because your world is just a manifestation of the spirit world, and so it's just unfolding that way. You got to trust it.
Our world, you're within my matrix,
right,
and I am within yours.
World.
Our world.
This world, the 3D world.
Miss Ellen, I'm going back to your website here real quick. I want to go over this something. Seraphim, right? Seraphim reading. What exactly is that?
The Seraphim blueprint. Yes, that is you are designed in how's the best way to describe it? You are designed with a certain blueprint that Creator gave you that has to do with light codes in your soul body. And those light codes are very much connected to the Jewish tree of life, to Christ's teachings, to, even the chakra system. But it's more complex than just the chakra system. So these light codes within your soul body, you have 144,000 nadis, which are light centers within your soul body or your body itself. And when they get corrupted with information or with energies, then again you'll be out of alignment. You'll be distorted, and you'll suffer. And so the blueprint reading is to assist in scanning your light body and in identifying where you have corrupted files in your blueprint itself. So when you come with this pure divine blueprint from source, you get to earth and you take on this other template from your family, and that template oftentimes is corrupted or distorted. And when you don't work through that, you can't get back in alignment with your true blueprint. Then you feel a lot of distortion in yourself, and you feel uncomfortable, and you feel depressed, and all these things. And so it's designed to help them realign with their true codes.
Eleanor, I gotta ask you for my own egotistical self.
Uh-oh.
Am I gonna be all right in this world? Because I'm trying so very hard to keep everybody on that timeline where we are going to be all right. We are going to take that next step in evolution to the soul self source, the totally awakened. The cabal is gone. The cabal's in my world, Ellen. In my world, the cabal will be exposed for the tragedy. Okay, for all of the.
It already is, and you're already doing it, and you're already alright. So you're just going to keep going, and you're just going to keep peeling away layers of yourself that no longer serve you, because we're all going to be doing this every day that we recognize there's something I'm doing that is not true to my true soul. And if it's not true to my true soul, then no matter what I do in this physical world, it's going to turn to shit. I'm sorry, but if you're not lining up with your soul, there's nothing. It's going to turn out no good. So,
right. All right, so go. All right, go. I'm glad you said that because I'm working. I work my ass off on trying to spin even the worst politics. I swear to you, I can't stand politics. I really truly cannot. But people want to talk about it, so I have to do it. So I've got to spit it out of there. Shadow healing readings. What would that be? Shadow healing readings.
Well, most people suffer with what we talked about in the beginning, where you have like 5% of your consciousness that you're aware of, and the rest of you is like an iceberg. It's buried underwater, and you don't even know these parts of yourself. And so you're going through suffering and depression and all kinds of other problems. And sometimes even you're BSing your own self, and it's too hard for you to see it on your own, because it really, just like you were saying, well, how do I do it? Well,
right.
Do it. Sometimes working with a shadow healer can help you speed up that process of bringing up to the light your own shadow aspects. And if you don't bring them to the light and bring them into your consciousness, you can't heal, and therefore your ascension gets delayed and prolonged. So that's really why we've dealt with so much reincarnation cycles, is that, again, the programming and the shadow aspects. And so the shadow healing session is designed for me to be able to go, I can scan and I can see right inside of you where your shadow's kind of yanking you around by the nose hairs, if you will.
Right. All right. Let's just go to the other one here real quick. You've got the so beyond the shadow healing and the work, mediumship. So we kind of realize there's a difference between psychic and mediumship. Tell me the difference, and then tell me, please, what the mediumship reading is, Ellen.
Well, I don't even know how to answer that exactly, other than, psychic intuitive gifts or can be a variation or a variety of them. Mediumships in general has to do with channeling spirits. So if you're trying to reach through and connect with a loved one that's passed over, or even your higher self or your twin flames higher self. A lot of times people that are in the twin flame journey, they don't meet their physical twin flame. They're trying to learn how to connect on a soul level, and they're having a hard time with it. So sometimes channeling them can assist that person in their twin flame journey too. But also it can include even channeling spirits. So if they want to learn how to connect with their own guides or their own, whatever, they can schedule a session with this. But it's mainly designed for reaching out to loved ones and connecting with them. So
gotcha. Alrighty, man. My dear, I'm not going to keep you for more than an hour and a half. I have not booked the hour and a half with you, other than just say, Ellen, would you please come talk to my community, please? So again, I appreciate you. We appreciate you for being here and spending the hour and a half with us. Nobody calls this show, whether they be a guest or whether they be just a caller, without spreading some sort of positivity to the bubble, your bubble, my bubble, and where the hell we're at. So, Ellen, before you leave the Matrix, you've got to say something positive to all of humanity and our bubbles, our multiverse. Because I see us focusing on positive alignment. Sweetheart, where I'm going to go is beyond, and we're going to create good things.
Well, the light wins. So just stick with the light and keep doing what you're doing and staying positive, and not just positive, but being honest with yourself. And, we are ascending to new earth. So those that are choosing ascension, the reality that we're going to, the new earth that we are ascending to, is so magical. It's so beyond any of your wildest dreams in this world. There's no wars, no negativity, none of the things that are hard here. So as you continue to stay with the light and to purge from your own self, your own lower energies, and to assist all of those around you, then where we're going is nothing but completely magical. if you liked the movie Avatar, you're going to love New Earth because it's even better.
That's right. Hell yeah. All right, Miss Ellen. Thank you again. Everybody can find her at ellenred.com. That's ELLENREDD.com. Tell Matt at the Matrix Mind sent you. Ellen, again, babes, I appreciate you. Thank you for your journey, and thank you for being part of our Matrix.
Awesome. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. Talk to you again. Thank you, Ellen.
Okay. Good
All
night.
right, good night. Ready day, ladies and gentlemen. Oh my. I loved that talk. I totally did. Ellen is full of knowledge, full of wealth. You guys were with me going over her bio, and she is just like loaded with stuff. She's like Shaman Espinosa. She's the real deal too. She's been a friend of mine. I wanted to have her here on the Matrix for quite some time with you guys, and without a doubt, I got her here. I was able to share her with you. You can see she's positive. She's full of it. She's full of love. She wants to give you guys positive affirmations and validate for everybody that we are indeed going full bore into that collective creative. This is our reality. This is our world. This is our matrix that we are breaking. We are literally breaking this facade, this stranglehold that they have had on us as a humanity for eons. Okay, that is another thing that I wanted Ellen to share with everybody is the positivity. You hear me say it. You hear me say it all the time. But to hear somebody else on the psychic, shamanic journey say it to you beyond just myself, it's a validation. And I wanted that. I wanted that. You heard me say it. I've got to know for my own egotistical self. Where am I going? Are we going to do this? We're going to do this, right? Tell me. Ellen, I was like, tell me. We're going to do this. We're going to do this, brains. And it's nothing more than love for one another. I love you guys. I totally do. If not, I would not be doing this. I assure you, I would not be doing what I'm doing. So without a doubt, again, it was my pleasure sharing my good friend Ellen Red with you guys. You guys can find her again at ellenred.com. Let me throw that down here right below me. I do have it down there somewhere. Right here. There we go. Oh, a little bit too big. There we go. Again, if you guys go visit Ellen, I hope you do. If not, if you don't want a reading at all, just do me a favor. Let her know that you cared about the podcast. Let her know that you cared about what she had to say. She's got a contact. She has a contact below on our website. So go check out our website below. Fill it out. Reach out to her. Guys can reach her on Facebook. Again, every link to get a hold of Ellen is in the description of tonight's broadcast. So check it out. Send her some love. Tell her that Matt from the Matrix sent you over to her. And with that, my friends, I will check you guys out here on Wednesday night. It is your guys' night, open lines night, all night long. We're going to talk about whatever the hell you guys want to talk about. Got it? All right, Brainiacs, with that being said, my friends, we are out of here. Again, shout out to Ellen's community, Matrix Minds, as well as the Black Sheep Media. We appreciate you sending love, nothing but love to you guys, without a doubt. Matthew Turner here with the Matrix Minds. ABCs, check yourself, my friends.